Well, Dwayne.
Anyone can hear me?
Yeah. If I blink out, it starts the computer acting up again. Okay.
Okay.
What we going over today?
I'm going to resume the transcript, but then before that, I was going to do a review of what we covered before with one of the PowerPoints of the Mystic Constitution of Man to catch us up. And then we'll pick up after that with the transcript.
All right.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's old, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an older one, but it's broken up into parts.
Oh,
And this part has spirit, soul, and Bindu org body, and that's where we in the transcript we're talking about the etheric body. So I wanted to. This one stops where we currently are in the transcript.
okay.
So make sure. Okay, anybody online can see it too. Okay, good. So I got that to work properly. And selection. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start. Welcome everyone to another open discussion and class topics. Sorry, open discussion and various topics. Class number 142. Going to be bouncing back and forth between a couple of screens here. So please forgive any delay. All right, let us open up today with reciting the prayer for spiritual workers. And then we will move into our Q&A session. Let's talk about that. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, will defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. All right. Welcome once again, everyone, to another open discussion and various topics. See the screen. And this is class number 142. And as per usual, feel free to post any questions or comments you may have in the chat, and we will do our best to address those for you. Today, we will pick up, we'll attempt to pick up with our transcript from the Metaphysics 101 class series. We're doing class 2. And you can find that series on our YouTube channel. And if you click on playlist, you will see, and scroll down a bit, you'll see Metaphysics 101, but let me just jump there really quick and put it up on the screen. So you see here, this is our YouTube channel. Click on playlist and scroll down a bit. You'll see Metaphysics 101. We are currently working through class 2. About the first, let's say 15 minutes, 15, 16 minutes of class 2. I may extend it out further if you guys want me to cover more of the class, but no more than the first 30 minutes. So you're welcome to go back and take a look at the 101 class 1 and class 2 lectures and bring any questions or comments you may have. We'll probably finish up with class 2 within the next couple of sessions. And then from there, we'll move on to the Metaphysical Lecture Series for Beginners, and then we'll go on to the 21 lessons. So between the Lecture Series for Beginners and the 21 Lessons series, we'll cover quite a breadth of information, as well as give everyone a solid foundation in metaphysics. And that should probably take us out for the rest of the year. And then next year, we'll put a schedule together to let everyone know what we're going to cover. But you're also welcome to submit any requests that you have for topics that you'd like us to cover. Anything metaphysics, mystic this isn't related. Or you can also just email us questions that you have. We'll be glad to answer those for you as well. And so that's the playlist and the more or less the agenda for the rest of this year. Today, in order to catch up, or kind of like in a review, because we've stepped away from the transcript for a bit, just to cover some other questions and items that are brought up that you guys had. So rather than reading through the entire transcript, again, I would plan to pick up at around 7 minutes mark if you're following on the video with the class 2 video. I do have some timestamps in the transcript, so if you want to follow along, you know exactly where I'm reading from. And so next time we're going to pick up at the 7-minute mark on the video, but today I want to do a review of the Mystic Constitution of Man, specifically the topics that were covered in class 1 and in the first about 7-10 minutes of class 2 of the Metaphysics 101 series. And that includes the spirit, soul, Bindu, and the auric body. So at present in the transcript, we're looking at we've already established the formation of the auric unit, and now we're looking at the bodies that constitute the aura, and including the etheric body, and specifically etheric body is where we are at in the transcript. So this review today will take us right up to the aura. And then from there, I will move back into the transcript because we'll be caught up and ready to continue our examination of the 101 series. So before we start that, do we have any questions or comments? There was one question here earlier saying, how can I contact directly with my God source? And he realized that in mind, I am always in contact. If there are any other questions? And I apologize for the video quality. I'm not sure why Zoom is compressing it so much, but I'll try to have that fixed by next time. All right, if there are no questions as yet, then let's move into. Oh, sorry, did you want to say something, Iman?
No, I'm saying what you're trying to do. Mine is clear on this side.
It's clear on your side? Okay.
Mhm.
It looks blurry on my side. Maybe it's just my computer. Well, Sterling, let's see. How can I contact directly with my God source? Well, we can change that. We can still use that same question, but we can change it a bit to say instead of God's source, we can say higher self or highest aspect. Okay, know that. What do you think, Nimai? The question he asks is, how can I contact directly with my God source?
We are, as I always say, we are, and the teachers tell us that we are a divine spark of God. So therefore, we are in constant contact, although we are not aware of it because we do not recognize it because of all the false knowledge we have fed ourselves, and because of the cloaks, the various cloaks that have been suppressed over our consciousness in order for us to pressurize our thinking and our movement in order to take us back to the original source, which is the divine spark of God, which is the spirit within us. The divine spark, what we call the spirit creates a soul, and the soul moves forward on the journey from the directives of the spirit in order to move into what we call gross manifestation, and go through a series of experience, gain experience inside gross manifestation. And that's where we are. We're gaining experience inside of gross manifestation, but we're always connected with the soul, and the soul is connected with the spirit. But the spirit is the real self, it's the real I, it's the real I am within us. The soul is the I, but the spirit is the I am. So, and our consciousness is the gateway to soul and spirit. And what soul does, as we learn inside the Constitution of Man, the mystic Constitution of Man, is that soul creates multiple vehicles of expression in order to gain this experience. And that's various parts of our mind, which is our consciousness, the various bodies that we use in order to enter various realms of manifestation, whether it's the higher etheric realms or the mental realms or the astral realms or the physical realms in which we are currently at. The gross physical realms, all the realms are physical, but the gross physical realms where we currently are. But it takes a lot for us to realize that we are an aspect of God in a journey within the absolute, which is God.
Okay. If there's any other questions. All right, so no more questions. All right, so let's start with a 3-page diagram. Talks about the mystic constitution of man to give us a visual illustration, and then we'll move into the PowerPoint. But if you have any questions or comments throughout today's session, you can feel free to post them in the chat, and we'll answer those for you, even as we're going along with the presentation. All right, so we'll look at these about 3 pages, and then we will transition into the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint goes into more detail, but I figured this would be would help us with, so we take these images and visualizations in mind as we're going through the PowerPoint, and it'll help us to connect the dots and better understand the information presented. So again, this is a review of class 1, Metaphysics 101, and the beginning portion of class 2, where we currently are in the class 2 transcript, is an analysis of the vehicles of expression. Specifically, it's about 7 minutes and 20 seconds at the etheric body. So the mystic constitution of man, the major metaphysical components of man's makeup. The absolute conceptually represents the highest expression of God. So whenever you hear us referring to God, you will always use the terms God, absolute, interchangeably, but most times we hear referred to as the absolute. It has no beginning nor ending and becomes the pure and formless ground of being from which creation and manifestation arise. Therefore, the spirit of man by default is also unmanifested and becomes the all-knowledge space, point of consciousness, and divine source of power for the soul. That unmanifested existence is the absolute, or God, which is often described as infinite, omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. This infinite endless potential becomes the power source for the universe and all its life forms, from the macro to the micro. Okay, now how is this done? Kind of going to jump over here to the left. The absolute as Shiva, all right, so you see here in the illustration, it's illustrated and then explained throughout the text on this diagram. The absolute as Shiva releases a divine sonic vibration that mobilizes the spirit. Mobilizes the Shakti, sorry. That Shakti becomes the substance and power of the universe, sustaining all life forms within. Everything in the universe is built from that Shakti, the substance of God. Shiva is the ultimate creator. All right, so you see here, Shiva, creator, and this is the, up here is unmanifested. And then through the releasing of that divine sonic vibration, you have down here manifestation, or as here stated, the created universe. While Shakti, being a product of the original divine sonic vibration, is the creation, this Shakti then creates a cosmic matrix of modified Shakti that becomes the substance and bodies for the universe, galaxies, solar systems, suns, planets, and moons. These Mahabindus become the celestial distributors for expanding life and power throughout creation. So we have Shiva, absolute or God. We have Shakti, here, all power. We have Vak, which is the word that was released at around here. An initial divine sound vibration. With Maha, meaning great, and Bindu is a point of consciousness. Okay. So now I move on to the soul, the next portion here, sorry, is manifested from the spirit, a divine spark of God. For reasons unknown, the Absolute decided to involve a part of itself in a manifested periodical state of being. This manifested aspect of its being exists in various states of matter, operating in multiple layers of motion and time in order to gain experience. The soul, following the directives of the spirit, pulls on the creative substances of the universe to build itself an indestructible body layered in multiple levels of consciousness to gain experiences in countless cycles of incarnations. All right, so we're following the diagram here. We've had the spirit creating its body, the soul, and then the soul now creating its body, the auric body. And then in that auric body, auric units, there are multiple vehicles of expression, which we'll get to part about in the next paragraph. This indestructible body is the auric body. It is the personal body for the soul of man. The auric body then creates an envelope of divine substance that feeds all the vehicles of expression, utilized by the soul to gain experience in reincarnation cycles. All incarnated bodies exist in cycles within the auric body, which act as an envelope of matter that sustains the bodies or vehicles of expression. Right. So within those organized field of modified Shakti, we have the auric substance containing the chakra system, the nadi system, or subtle nervous system, kundalini, the 4 states of sound, and the nadi system outer flow. All right, so now we'll look at the vehicles of expression, the mental bodies, the major pranas, the etheric body, astral, and physical body. The mental bodies, these are several levels and patterns of Chitta Shakti, material pulled from the cosmos to form a limited body of consciousness to undergo various experience cycles. The mental bodies consist of a supraconscious mind, a superconscious mind, a subconscious mind, and a conscious mind, all of which are used to shape and mold both the subtle and gross energies and matter. The etheric body, a subtle body made from the higher subtle energies and matter configured from the upper energy patterns of the chakras situated above the solar plexus center. All right, so that's all the chakras, solar plexus, the heart center, above the solar plexus, so the heart center, throat center, Christ center, and so on. The astral body is a subtle body made from the subtle energy and material configured from the chakras below the heart chakra. That's the solar plexus and below. This subtle body has a tendency to interact with the physical body, manifesting as emotional energy or distorted mental images. And then finally, we have the physical body, which is the gross body constructed to house all aspects of man's mystic constitution. All right, again, if you guys have any questions or any comments, you can feel free to post them in the chat. Or if it's a longer question, you can just put a quick little message in the chat to let me know to hold on for a minute and give you time to type out your question. And I'll pause and wait for you to post your question. Okay. A brief statement of the soul, the manifested body for the spirit, a traveling body. The soul is the manifested intelligence of the spirit, a supreme but limited vehicle of manifested consciousness, awareness of the spirit as the soul. The soul's intelligence is a direct product of the spirit. Therefore, it is aware of the vast unlimited power and knowledge of the spirit. The soul is the highest manifested expression of the spirit within man. The soul is considered to be the manifested body of the spirit. This manifested body of the spirit, the soul, is indestructible. It came from the spirit, and it must be absorbed back into the spirit. Therefore, the soul cannot die. It can only be absorbed back into its original source, the spirit. The soul's body is made of the highest manifested matter in the universe and remains on the highest realm of existence throughout the journey of involution and evolution. The soul, in its twin state of supreme existence, remains in a position of vast awareness and supreme power, creating all the moving parts of itself to make the journey through involution and evolution. Therefore, the soul is the I of man, and the spirit is the I am, that part that is forever connected to the absolute, God, or the Shiva Shakti. This I and I am never moves its position. It is the supreme part of ourselves that is the creative power of the spirit as soul. It is the soul's power and it is the soul's positive and negative aspect in manifested creation. This twin soul state of existence is the one, a state of independence, and the two, a state of cooperation, which produce a state of self-expression of three. All right, let's take a look at these three aspects. Aspect number one of the soul is the state of power that is the Shiva effect in existence. It is a power that pulls on itself, an independent power generating from within. Aspect number two of the soul is that aspect that never deviates from the law of karma. It is the power of cooperation. Both aspects, 1 and 2 of the soul, converge and produce a third aspect, the supreme power of expression, moving forward throughout manifested creation. It carries the embodied consciousness of the soul through involution and evolution back to its creative source as a conscious aspect of soul, no longer embodied, but still remaining a supreme expression. Remember, these are the same aspects as the 4 aspects of creation? Or this is just specifically for the soul?
It seems to be similar. I think that's why they talk about, because when you look at the 4 sounds that come from Kundalini, which is nothing but an expression of the soul, it seems to pattern the same laws. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
And my computer went out again. So.
Yeah, but I can hear you so far. I was able to hear everything. Okay. All right, number 12, the spirit represents pure silence, a pure static state which is an endless potential of power. While the soul represents a pure creative sound vibration in constant motion with that power from spirit. The soul is charged with directives from the spirit to involve itself into subtle etheric matter and various layers of gross matter through a process of involution and evolution in time frames of reincarnation cycles. The soul involves itself through fabricating a vehicle of consciousness out of Shakti power, that it can place a part of its intelligence within as limited awareness, evolving itself through experience cycles back to its original source. The soul brings a concentrated stream of Shakti power into the influence of the soul's intelligent control. Then, the soul calibrates this Shakti power in order to have it enter the Brahmic line of force, the Sushumna, a region within the spinal column, a minute field of space that places tremendous cosmic pressures on any and all things passing through it. This area of minute space, the Sushumna, conditions the Shakti power with the levels of consciousness of the universe through the major chakra configuration. As the soul moves this stream of Shakti power through Sushumna's Brahmanadi, it conditions the flow of Shakti power into a field of consciousness that serves as a vehicle of consciousness for the soul. The soul moves this concentrated Shakti power that has been calibrated into a stream of consciousness through the soul's body of intelligence in a tie field of Brahmic operation as it collects the configuration data for each major chakra from the crown chakra down to the base or root chakra. The soul then lodges the modified Shakti power of consciousness within the base chakra, where the pressures of this chakra drives the Shakti power into a state of Kundalini, a dormant state of power. The soul then uses this Kundalini as a vehicle of consciousness through subtle sound vibrations and the inhibited power of the Kundalini to build several layers of consciousness, which then builds several bodies of expression that moves through evolution, gaining countless experiences life after life. Okay, this it's not stated here, it'll be stated later, but what he's talking about here, the inhibited power of Kundalini, is when the Shakti power is pushed all the way down Sushumna, the Brahmic line, and it finds balance at the equal balance at the Muladhara chakra, and at that point it's expressed as, goes into 3.5 knot configuration, is expressed as Kundalini, but in that 3.5 knot configuration, the Kundalini power is inhibited. No, that's right, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. The Shakti power of consciousness that is molded into Kundalini as a vehicle of consciousness for the soul can now experience a 7-dimensional creation through this limited state of consciousness. I want to pause there to point out something very important. You'll hear a lot in metaphysics world of, 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension, and so forth. But all of creation exists in 7 dimensions. We exist in 7 dimensions, or multiples of 7 dimensions, depending on the higher evolved beings. And so you'll know whenever you hear someone talking about the 4D or 5th dimension consciousness or whatever, I know that is not correct. Everything exists in 7 dimensions, all of creation. Okay. Number 22, the first and primary body of the soul is the auric unit, or body, which is a series of subtle magnetic fields that exist on the etheric, astral, and subtle gross physical levels. These etheric these auric magnetic fields of substance are designed to hold patterns of consciousness for the soul. It has the ability to receive and transfer mental intelligence to the various aspects of consciousness within the auric fields of operations. They are designed to receive and close and transfer the signature pattern of various subtle vital energies in time cycles. The auric body acts as the manifested pool of endless potential established by the soul to pull down on the universal mind substance and Shakti power, modifying it into multiple vehicles of expression. So one thing that really helped me to begin to wrap my mind around this concept of the mystic constitution was when Nima expressed the point that everything is modified Shakti. So it's all one energy released, the absolute. And as that energy takes on different modifications or expresses different aspects of itself, it is given different names to represent that modification, but it is all Shakti. So if you can think about, we exist in this vast ocean of Shakti, and then within that vast ocean of Shakti, you have these different expressions, be it galaxies, suns, planets, asteroids, terrestrial human beings, other life streams throughout the galaxies and solar systems, and so on and so forth, all the way down to micro expressions of cellular microorganisms, and so on and so forth. It is all these various modifications of Shakti. Okay. So then we'll take a look now at the auric body. So that last diagram was going deeper into the workings of the soul. And we'll look at another working of the soul, the creation of its body of expression, the auric body. And then with this, we'll move into the PowerPoint presentation. And we'll be completely caught up with where we are in the 101 series. Now, this is not only going to help us in the 101 series, it'll also help us when we move into Metaphysics for Beginners series, as well as into the 21 lessons. In the 21 lessons, specifically, Nehemiah goes into great detail. So he breaks the entire subject of the mystic constitution down into 21 poignant subjects, and he goes quite deep into each one of those 21 subjects. And so I would like to cover all of the 21 lessons. I don't remember if each video is, I don't remember if each class was recorded, first of all, and of the ones that are recorded, I don't know if each one is public. But of the ones that are public, I would like to go through each of them and expand further and update the material. I think that series may have been about 10 years ago when that particular series on YouTube was given. So we have quite a bit of updated diagrams, illustrations since then. So I'd really like to move into the 21 lessons, but we'll get there as we go. We'll finish up class 2. We'll go through Metaphysics series for beginners, and then we'll do the 21 lessons. The soul creates the auric body out of highly potent and concentrated Shakti power. It is designed to continuously pull on this great power by the positioning of the Bindu vortex centers. The Bindu vortex centers are the major streams of consciousness on the major chakras. All right, so you have depicted here the Bindu vortex centers. So going from top to bottom, starting with the crown, Christ, then the throat, the heart center. All right, and we read earlier that the etheric body uses these centers, the heart and upwards, or is a body constructed out of the material of the higher centers. And then we have the solar plexus, sex, and the base chakra. And it is these lower centers, which constitute the astral body. And then the physical body is also a combination of the lower centers as well. The auric body is the traveling body for the soul. The auric body is virtually indestructible. It functions for eons as an instrument to aid in gaining experience cycles. The auric body becomes the primary vehicle of expression to gain experience through involution and evolution. All right. I want to stress this point as well, because it in a sense, it gives us a shift in our thinking and also in our vocabulary. I remember years ago, in class, I remember what it was, I forgot what the subject was having to in the class, but I said, I am hungry. And then my kind of corrected me and says, no, the body is hungry. It says, you are the aura, you are the soul. You are not hungry, the body is hungry. And that just that little change in vocabulary shifts the mind, shifts our thought process into recognizing and acknowledging who we really are. The auric body is the primary vehicle of expression. We're not a physical body with an aura, we're an aura with multiple bodies that express itself across all the realms of existence. And even beyond that, we are a soul that is expressing itself through an aura. And above that, we are spirit, we are God, operating through soul, through an auric body, gaining experience. So keep that thought in mind and constantly remind yourself that, no, I'm not just this physical vehicle that I see when looking in the mirror, but I am an aura with multiple bodies. I am a soul, I'm spirit, I am that which is. The auric body becomes the initial atmosphere for all the aspects of the soul's vehicle of expression. This auric atmosphere is a source for etheric Mahabhutas. So remember, we look at that, we find that term Maha earlier, meaning great, and Bhutas, meaning elements, a substance, and the 5 major pranas. Tightly fitted within the auric body, you will find the following. All right, so we are an auric unit with a chakra system, with a kundalini and nadi system, with mental bodies, with minor auric fields and auric layers, which is these lines here that are encircling what we call the mystic man here, or the mystic person. The 5 major and minor pranas, the etheric bodies, the astral bodies, and a physical body. The subtle auric body or unit is a series of subtle magnetic fields that exist on the etheric, astral, and subtle gross physical levels. These auric magnetic fields of substance are designed to hold patterns of consciousness for the soul. It has the ability to receive and transfer mental intelligence to various aspects of consciousness within the auric fields of operations. They are designed to receive and close and transfer the signature patterns of various subtle vital energies in time cycles. All right, so these patterns of consciousness, right? So we're currently expressing ourselves in a terrestrial humanoid pattern of consciousness. We have other life streams expressing themselves in a pattern of consciousness that we identify as a dog, or as a cat, or as a whale, or as a tree, or as a stone, or as a mountain. So there are various patterns of consciousness that the soul uses to go through experience. And all of these patterns eventually evolve higher and higher and higher back to the original, the origin, the source, the absolute. The auric body acts as a manifested pool of endless potential established by the soul to pull down the universal mind substance and Shakti power, modifying it into vehicles of expression. With the exact karmic framework, I'm sorry, I skipped something. Yeah, the auric body is used by the soul as vehicle to create the background patterns for building the correct, proportioned, subtle, and gross vehicles of expression with the exact karmic framework for the countless experience cycles needed. In other words, the auric body or bodies is manifested to operate on all planes of existence. Now, this means that the auric body is in full operation on every level of consciousness or realms throughout the 108 chakras within the human auric structure. I say this to point out that every chakra is not only a level of consciousness or vortex center of power, but a total realm of existence. The auric body is locked into all these vortex centers of power, chakras, that are also realms of existence, representing levels of consciousness with such complexity it's almost incomprehensible. Let's just think about that for a moment. Although we're presently only aware of ourselves, most of us, on this gross physical plane of existence, because we're so identified with this gross physical body, the aura, as mentioned here, is locked into all the vortex centers or all the realms of existence, one at the same time. So when you talk about projection or raising our consciousness, we're just raising our awareness of our existence from a lower realm to a higher realm, especially when you're in projection, astral projection, or even etheric projection. You exist on all the planes, all the realms, but you're moving your conscious awareness into a particular body or into a particular expression so that you can operate on that plane for a time as dictated by karma. Is that correct, Nima?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier,
Yes.
that you have to expand your consciousness because the real you being spirit is aware of everything because it is part of the absolute. And the soul is a part of the soul is aware of the spirit's vast knowledge as a resource to go and reference it. But what the soul does, the soul creates these various vehicles in order for the limited consciousness that it was directed to create to be able to absorb all manifested creation in order to understand the unmanifested, which is spirit.
Do we have, let's take a pause here. Do we have any questions? A pause for some questions. Let's see. All right, nothing in the chat as of yet. Okay. And here. All right. The soul builds this auric body of substance by pulling on the nada Shakti powers of the universe and configuring it through the universal, solar, and planetary mind and pranas energies, projected mainly by the Mahabindus of the solar system. Each major planetary body of the solar system releases or projects a certain quality of mind energies and vital energies. The main flow of these subtle energies comes from the primary Mahabindu of the solar system, the mighty sun, a massive compaction of potential creative energies. The sun radiates large quantities of subtle energies. They are absorbed by the planetary bodies of the Mahabindus of the solar system, reconfigured, then redistributed back into the solar system as an added value for life streams residing throughout the system. And then we'll close this diagram by looking at a summation of these 12 points. The misconstitution of man as one, spirit, the I am of man is divine spark of God. Number two, soul, the I of man, a manifested body for the spirit. Number three, auric body, the traveling body for the soul. Number four, the chakra system, the 108 vortex centers connected to the universe, as composed of major, minor, and minute chakras. You have the Kundalini signatures, dormant Shakti as a vehicle of consciousness. You have the Nadi system, which is several 100,000 subtle pathways of energies that creates a geometric matrix within the auric bodies that promote layers of consciousness. And if you're curious, you can go back to maybe 3 or 4 open discussions ago where we actually took a bit deeper dive into the Nadi system. And we even looked at a couple of diagrams that mapped out some of the major nadis throughout the auric unit, mapped out and named them as well. 7, the mental bodies, 4 levels of consciousness. You have the supra conscious mind, super conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. And Dr. George King gives a great lecture on levels of mind. Number 8, the minor auric field, auric substance of each expression. Number 9, the 5 major and minor pranas, which are the formation of vital energies within the body. Number 10, the etheric bodies, subtle bodies made from the upper chakras. 11, astral bodies, subtle bodies made from the lower chakras. Number 12, the gross physical body. All right. That'll finish up that handout. So we'll now move into PowerPoint presentation, and I think we have just enough time to make it through the entire presentation. But again, if there are any questions or comments, you're more than welcome to post them in the chat. Oh, actually, you guys can't see it. I think it's this one. Let me see if you guys can see that. Yes, okay, it's up. Just give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Mystic constitution of man, man's makeup. So in this presentation, we'll just cover the spirit, soul, bindu, and up to the auric body. And with this and the three diagrams we looked at earlier, and with this presentation, we'll be completely caught up with the Metaphysics 101 class 1 and 2, where we are currently in class 2. And then we'll be able to finish up with the transcript and move on to the next in the video series. So here we'll look at introduction of the mystic constitution. We'll talk about spirits, we'll talk about soul, we'll talk about the bindu, the spiritual germ, and we'll briefly touch on the auric bodies. The yogic philosophy teaches that man has many facets to his makeup. Man's true nature is spirit, a divine spark of God, and everything else is but a divine sheath of clothing to weather the pathway of any storms through life. Each divine sheath of clothing can be considered a state of being manifesting a specific level of consciousness that inhibits the inner light of the spirit. But each divine sheath of clothing or group of divine sheaths make up the levels of consciousness in the lower and higher aspects of man. We'll help the metaphysical student to connect the dots on these various difficult subjects and show how the aspects of man's makeup are tools of expression for the soul. We will further show the layers of man's makeup that build a complex machine, which are the human and subtle bodies of man that house his intelligence for the soul. The breakdown that we give here for man's makeup is a description of the major components used by the soul in its involved state of being. The soul involved itself and its awareness to allow a portion of the soul's intelligence to gain experience in a state of limited consciousness. The spirit of man, which is a divine spark of God, and the true I am of man, being an unmanifested part of God, brought into manifestation the soul as a body for the spirit in a state of limited awareness. The soul then builds a series of bodies to work through in order to gain experience in the manifested realms of existence. The soul, being aware of the spirit and its directive to the soul, moved forward to involve itself through the tools of self-expression. We will examine the layers of this system of subtle and gross bodies of man, which can be described as the following. And as you can see on the right-hand side is an illustration which depicts the spirit, divine spark of God, releasing the paranata sound. The soul is the manifested body, the expression of the spirit. And then from there, we have the auric bodies. The soul gathers a portion of the Shakti power and brings about a modification of Shakti through the Brahmic line of force in order to produce a segment of involution through limited consciousness. I have Kundalini, the vehicle of consciousness for the soul. And then you have the Sushumna nadis, and both Pingala and Ida nadis, the chakras, the etheric, mental, astral bodies, and the pranic bodies and physical body. The Shakti power falls down from the crown to the base chakra through the Brahmic line of force called Sushumna. Once the Shakti power falls down to the base chakra, it goes into a dormant state by moving into a 3.5 energy configuration called Kundalini that blocks the passageway to Sushumna. This places the Shakti power into a flux state that brings about a division of this power. The division of the Shakti power brings about the manifestation of Pingala and Ida flow of Shakti. The vital energy is the Pingala flow, which is the dynamic, positive aspect of Shakti. The passive energy flow is the Ida flow, which is a mental, passive, negative aspect of Shakti power. The power of Shakti found its level of equilibrium after falling or manifesting itself from the Shiva power. This equilibrium brings self-consciousness to man. The Pingala, positive, and Ida, negative flow of energy, moves from the base chakra upwards, seeking to unite as one energy. Since the passageway to Sushumna is closed or blocked by the 3.5 energy configuration called Kundalini, the Pingala and Ida moves towards every chakra, crisscrossing through each one of the chakras along the spine, trying to enter Sushumna, terminating its forward movement at the Christ chakra, the equilibrium point of the Pingala and Ida flow of energy that manifests consciousness on the gross physical level. The Christ chakra is where the spinal column is terminated. It's also where the 3 nadic energy flows called Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna nadis terminates and merge back as one consciousness. It is the second equilibrium level along the spinal column. The Bindu energy expressed here is the highest level of static Shakti power being expressed along the spinal column. All right, so we have a depiction here. You have spirit at the top, and then you have the soul at the top of the illustration, that kind of golden sphere, which is as a manifestation of soul. And the Bindu, the auric structure, you see the auric body there, the chakra system, the 7 major chakras listed on Sushumna there. Now the Kundalini, which is pointed here at the base of the spine chakra, and at the base of the spine, this is where it enters, at the Muladhara chakra, that's where it enters the 3.5 knot configuration. And the Nadi system, the mental bodies, the supra and super, sub and conscious minds, and the pranic formations, the etheric bodies, astral, and then physical bodies. I cannot see the questions. Okay. Spirit, a divine spark of God. This subject is probably the most difficult one to approach for most students and to comprehend because of the limited scope of our awareness and physical limitations to life. We live in a mortal physical state of mind, not allowing us to truly comprehend the complexity of our true nature, the Spirit, a divine spark of God that dwells within and all around us and allows us to make our being through involution to evolution. What is this thing called spirit? This has to be expressed and defined in many different ways by all walks of life. The yogi mystic believes that God is the absolute, the all in all, the life and source behind all things. It is all things and even more than that. Words cannot truly express or define the nature of this supreme power. Our feeble minds struggle to comprehend the greatest of the relationship to our divine source. Spirit is the name we give to that part of ourselves that never breaks the connection with the absolute or God. It is the real you, the only part of you that is not manifested or created. There is truly no real complete definition we can give to spirit because it defies perimeters of definition. Its true glory and magnificence cannot be captured in the imagination of man, in the speech or the written words of men. We can only attempt to give some brief, limited meaning to it. With our state of limited consciousness, we select and assign names to the infinite source in order to begin to grasp the ancient knowledge and secrets of the creative universe. The Spirit is the real you, the source of all power. It is described as that point or spark from the Absolute. The Spirit, as a divine spark of God, becomes the source of Bindu, or point of consciousness, where everything originates from. It is the compaction point of all things, all power. The Spirit is unmanifested because it was never manifested. It has no beginning and no end. It was always here with God, Absolute. Spirit was never created, therefore it will never have an expiration date. Spirit is part of that endless static potential of the Absolute that has no beginning or ending. It is the everlasting source of pure intelligence and power. Spirit is unmanifested and timeless because it exists outside the limits of time. In fact, Spirit is the creator of time and the destroyer of time, because Spirit is the creator of soul. It becomes that force that ushers in this thing called time. Creation represents movement, which is the product of that which describes manifestation. Spirit is the I am, the real self, or divine spark of God. It is the all in all, the aspect of God, the absolute or God aspect of you that never manifested, but always is connected to that source. Therefore, Spirit is not matter, but Spirit is the static and this potential of everything. This is the statement behind the answer given to Moses from a mighty aspect of God through the burning bush when Moses asked, "Who should I say sent me?" And God, or the lesser Lord of creation, said, "Tell them that I am sent you." The soul is the I aspect of yourself that is manifested from Spirit. The soul is the body of the Spirit that is manifested in etheric matter. The mental manifestation of creation is the expression of consciousness for the soul to gain experience through. The physical manifestation of creation is the vehicles of expression for the soul to gain experience through. Okay. So next we'll move on to the soul. The soul is the manifested intelligence of the Spirit. The soul's intelligence is a direct product of the Spirit. Therefore, it is aware of the vast, unlimited power and knowledge of the Spirit. The soul is the highest expression of the Spirit within man. Excuse me. The soul is considered to be the manifested body of the Spirit. This manifested body of the Spirit, the soul, is indestructible. It came from Spirit and it must be absorbed back into the Spirit. Therefore, the soul cannot die. It can only be absorbed back into its original source, the Spirit. The soul body is made of the highest manifested matter in the universe. Therefore, the soul is the I of man, and the Spirit is the I am of man, that part that is forever connected to the Absolute or God. The Spirit represents pure silence, a pure static state which is an endless potential of power that the soul represents in manifested form. The soul represents a pure creative sound vibration in constant motion with that power from Spirit. The soul is charged with directives from the Spirit to involve itself into subtle etheric matter and various layers of gross matter, through a process of involution and evolution in time frames of experience cycles. The soul involves itself through fabricating a vehicle of consciousness out of the universal power of Shakti. This allows the soul to place a part of its intelligence within its limited awareness in order to evolve itself through experience cycles back to its original source. The soul brings a concentrated stream of Shakti power into its influence. While Shakti power is under the soul's intelligent control, it is molded and shaped into tools of self-expression. This is done by calibrating the Shakti power into a minute, concentrated stream of potent Shakti substance, configured to hold the highest state of intelligent consciousness through the Brahmic realm of existence, an infinite line of force, known as the Brahmic line of force or the Sushumna, a region identified within the spinal column as a minute field of space that places tremendous cosmic pressures on any and all things passing through it. This area of minute space, the Sushumna, conditions the Shakti power with the levels of consciousness of the universe through the major configurations of the chakras. Each chakra level represents different levels of consciousness or realms of existence. As the soul moves this stream of Shakti power through Sushumna's Brahma, Nadi, it conditions the flow of Shakti power into a field of consciousness that serves as a vehicle of consciousness for the soul. The soul moves this concentrated Shakti power that has been calibrated into a stream of consciousness through the soul's body of intelligence in a tight field of Brahmic operation, as it collects the configuration data of each major chakra from the crown chakra down to the base or root chakra. Okay. And now next, we'll move into the Bindu. Let's see if there's any questions. No? Okay. I'll continue on. The Bindu, the spiritual germ of life, a point of all knowledge space. The Bindu is that point of supreme consciousness, a divine dot or a spiritual germ within the chakra. It is the point of consciousness connected to the all knowledge space. It is the point of consciousness that is the center of the all knowledge space. When man makes a full rise of Kundalini and lodges it in one of the chakras, he becomes connected to this Bindu, a point of consciousness that is centered in the all knowledge space. This is why we find the small statements of these yogi adepts or masters so profound and centered. The Bindu is described as a spiritual germ that drops from the divine consciousness, the absolute God. It, the Bindu, is the point of consciousness of the all knowledge space that extends from the one life, the divine spirit, the all in all, Brahma, the supreme being, God. The Bindu, as the point of consciousness, extends its voice as nada. The nada forces from the Mahabindu act as the creative wave of consciousness within creation that holds and stands as the potential power that brings about the countless forms and shapes within the manifested creation. These forms and shapes first express themselves as bits of modes of motion. and then they arrange themselves as bijas and become, or petals, and become forms of embodied consciousness on embodied consciousness on various forms of existence that make up what we call the chakras. The bindu, which is the spiritual germ of consciousness, the I am, and the I, releases the nada wave that is pure soundless sound. This nada wave moves forward and manifests the Shakti power out of the Shiva state of pure consciousness. This nada wave that expresses itself as sabda throughout nature manifests itself in vehicles of consciousness that shapes and molds aspects of Shakti power into animate and inanimate objects. Okay. So now move into the auric bodies. The auric body is the original manifested subtle body of the soul, created by the soul to allow it to gain experience on multiple levels of limited states of consciousness through countless reincarnations. These subtle auric bodies, or unit, is a series of subtle magnetic fields that exist on the etheric, astral, and subtle gross physical levels. These auric magnetic fields of substance are designed to hold the patterns of consciousness for the soul. It has the ability to receive and transfer mental intelligence to the various aspects of consciousness within the auric fields of operation. Also, these auric magnetic fields are designed to hold in place the signature patterns of various degrees of subtle vital energies within time cycles. It is also capable of receiving and transferring patterns of subtle vital energy configurations as well. The auric body acts as the manifested pool of endless potential that the soul has set up in order to pull down the universal mind substance and Shakti power in order to modify it into vehicles of expression. The auric body is used by the soul as a vehicle or tool in order to create the background patterns for building the correct proportion, subtle or gross vehicles of expression with the exact karmic framework for the countless experience cycles needed. In other words, the auric body is manifested to operate on all planes of existence. Now, this means that the auric body or bodies is in full operation on every level of consciousness or realm throughout the 108 chakras within the human structure we were talking about earlier. I say this to point out that every chakra is not only a level of consciousness or vortex center of power, but a total realm of existence. The auric body is locked into all these vortex centers of power, chakras, that are also realms of existence, and also represent levels of consciousness of such complexity that is almost incomprehensible. The soul builds this auric body of substance by pulling on the Nada Shakti powers of the universe and configuring it through the universal solar planetary mind and pranas, energies, projected mainly by the Mahabindus of the solar system. Each major planetary body of the solar system releases or projects a certain quality of mind energies and vital energies. Right. Let me see. Okay. So that's that presentation. So with that, we're caught up. I'm going to stop there. We're caught up with the Metaphysics 101 videos. That catches catches us up for class 1 and the first part of class 2, which we'll pick up on the transcript next time. And we covered quite a bit of information today, so I think I will close there. But do we have any final questions or comments? Was there anything you want to add, Nehemiah, before I close out today's session?
No. The next section, I did want to ask the next section. I remember writing that, but it's so long ago.
Yeah.
13 years ago. But what's the next section called? It's part 2. I named it the same thing.
Yeah, the same thing. It was about part 2. Let me see if I have that here. See it in my files. Maybe it's in my email. So I don't see it in my part 2 in my files. Maybe it's in my email.
I think I gave it to you on a jump drive.
Yeah. So I have
I think actually I wrote that probably 5 or 6 years before you came to the class.
Oh, okay. Because the part 2s that I have is for the Tantra series. You have broken up the Tantra into 5 or 4 PowerPoints.
Yeah, that was years before you came.
Yeah, I don't have that part 2 one.
That was in the training manuals, right?
Yeah, the training manuals is that's the Tantra, Yoga, Body, Mind. The science of Tantra Yoga, psychic development, its mystic meaning. I think those are 4 parts. And then there's a training manual.
What's the name of that one?
Share it real quick.
I can send it to you. That's what.
There's this one, the science of Tantra Yoga and psychic development, mystic meaning.
That's what you just finished reading? No, that's not what you finished.
No, that's not what I finished reading. What I finished reading was the Mystic Constitution.
So you don't have it?
I only have part 1. I don't have part 2 or anything beyond that.
I'll look for part 1. Part 2 then. Yeah, because that was years. That was in like maybe 2004, 2005.
Yeah, this one, the Mystic Constitution of Man's Makeup, part 1. And it's titled Mystic Constitution of Man, part 1. Mystic Constitution of Man's Makeup, part 1. And then the PowerPoint file. Yeah. Oh, right. And thank you for your comment, Sterling. There's no further questions or comments. Then let us close out today's session, reciting the New Lord's Prayer. The New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power, to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so, receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. Oh, great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for your kind attendance and participation. Again, do take this opportunity to go back to our YouTube channel and look at some of the previous classes. Even though we're going through Metaphysics 101 and then Metaphysics for Beginners, and then after that, the 21 lessons, you're free to view any other classes that are available on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, you can email them to us. If you'd like us to answer them privately, or if you're okay with us answering them in a subsequent open discussion, let us know in the email, and we'll address those questions accordingly. Also, any other subject matter or material you'd like for us to cover, you can email your suggestion or recommendation to us, and we'll consider those also. And finally, do check out our website, mysticknowledge.org. And there you can find plenty of resources, including ebooks that you can download for free and read and study. And if you have any questions or comments about those books, or would like us to cover some of those books, let us know, and I'll be glad to address that for you as well. Otherwise, thank you very much, and we will see you next time. Take care.